What happens when marketing metrics are looking up but sales are down? How do marketers lose credibility with finance, and how can they win it back? Welcome back to What Gets Measured, a NinjaCat podcast about marketing performance management, metrics, and effectiveness, because what gets measured gets managed. I'm your host, Jake Sanders. This conversation with Charlie de Thibault is jam-packed with insight from a former financial pro turned marketer on how we measure marketing, why we chase the wrong metrics, and what we can do to turn the gap between finance and performance into strategic success. If you've ever stared at a CFO like a deer in the headlights, or if you've tried and failed to get sales and marketing on the same page, or if you're just into hearing smart go-to-market chatter that might mention tostadas, this episode's for you. So, let's go. Charlie de Thibault is a data scientist and marketing mechanic who helps enterprise brands align their measurements to prevent waste and prove value. Charlie started out deep in finance and investment banking, working in risk and trading, then ran the measurement team as principal data strategist at Oracle. Now, brings his cross-modal skills to fix the misalignment problem between sales, marketing, and finance. He's a fresh follow on LinkedIn with useful advice on how to connect marketing efforts to actuary action, and he's here today to talk about it. Charlie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited about this show.
We've just been friends for so long on LinkedIn. It's a long time coming. So welcome everybody to a bromance that's blossoming. I love Charlie because his time spent in the financial realm and now bringing those skills into the marketing realm. He has a lot of like, is this what we're doing? And I was like, well, I'm interested in this take because most marketers are like, yeah, man, we're doing it. And the finance teams have questions. So I'm glad you're here. You've helped big, complex brands simplify their marketing operations. Let's talk about waste. Where do you see the most marketing dollars being wasted today?
Yeah, on the bottom of the funnel.
The bottom of the funnel.
All the time. Yeah, always. So it's because we have decided to evaluate marketing with attribution. And so attribution is only really reliable on the bottom of the funnel.
Right.
And so naturally, and attribution, we shouldn't forget that attribution is the why, and a buyer buys with attribution is the how. The reason why the buyers buy is the why. But interestingly, we have decided to go to that path of attribution, and now we are completely wrongly misattributing the way we mismeasuring marketing with attribution.
Wow.
We focus on the how instead of focus on the why. And what I see is that I wouldn't say it's marketing's fault. Actually, I do see it all the time. Attributed metrics are very often imposed to them. And so they're actually in these attribution, because we just tend to look at attribution to evaluate marketing would actually be penalized to do the right thing and invest in the upper funnel, and invest in the brand awareness, and invest in the brand affinity. And so we are in that situation where, unfortunately, marketing is pushed to spend on too much on the bottom of the funnel, but also to not invest in great initiative. For example, TV, radio, OH, events, social organic, all of those that are great to create a brand and affinity with the person. Well, we're not doing it because it's not trackable.
So here's my question. I mean, a lot of people are talking about tofu, the top of the funnel. They know that it's important in SEO and content. You know, everybody was like, yeah, you really have to work that top of the funnel. And again, I'm speaking from a content marketing play, which is just like you're missing some of those things like TV, radio, like promotional, things, not just organic. And so I think it's interesting because there seems to be a clash of advice. Most people understand that the top of the funnel is where a lot of that action is. But then again, you said the only measurable part is down there. So that's where all the money's going. So that's where all the waste is going. So the money waste is at the bottom. Do you think the time waste is at the top? Do you think a lot of people are doing a bunch of top of funnel things that aren't actually top of funnel? Or do you see what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes. For example, LinkedIn brand awareness campaigns. You know those one. Okay, we're going deep. We're going straight
Go,
into
go,
it.
go.
Is it an awareness campaign really that want to buy one picture of like some of your product? Like that's not really creating. Yeah, there's a bit of brand awareness, but I wouldn't say that it's create affinity. So there's a lot of things that we called top of funnel, are not really to me. Like really, the idea of top of the funnel is really like creating those buyers of tomorrow. And so yes, we have to be very careful, and we have to prove that actually the top of funnel drives something. But we can. There are a few ways.
Yeah, well, and what you said something that was really interesting. Creating the buyers of tomorrow. That's the top of the funnel. That's the responsibility. But I think we think it's educating the buyers of tomorrow. I think a lot of people are like, well, just educate them. Just educate them. And you're like, you know what I mean? Do you see that there's a disconnect in between creating brand affinity and educating people?
I think. Would you say like educating people is more for the B2B
Yes,
part?
and you're right. And I just thought that as I was talking about it, because our audience is not focused on B2B, but I guess in my world, I was just a little concerned about that, because some of those B2B places, I'm seeing them, you just got to educate people. And I said, well, does that really create affinity? You know, and maybe some of that B2B is coming to B2C, and somebody's thinking, man, maybe we need some blogs. And it's interesting that you don't see that. Oh, can you just really quickly talk about the B2B, B2C dichotomy here? Because, you know, it's like B2B is this special place and B2C is but aren't they sort of the same? I mean, like, in what ways are they similar and in what ways are they dissimilar? Just really fast.
Both buyers buy on perception. So the buyers, B2B buyers will buy based on reduced perceived risk. For example, HubSpot versus Salesforce, or using IBM. Nobody gets fired using
Heard
IBM.
the quote.
Yeah. So that's the idea. That's the B2B. And so when you have small B2B brands that is starting, even if they have a better product than the one of the very big dinosaurs and very big company, it's very difficult for them to get market shares because they're not IBM. And in that part, yes, there is an education, but it shouldn't only be education. It's also like really showing that the company is not a risky selection. And the way you do this is peers, for example, if they have peers reviews. For example, if a CEO recommends to another CEO a certain HR system, like that is way more valuable than any kind of performance marketing you can do. So yes, there is that educating, but it's more importantly, it's really important to focus on that perception of the brand.
I'm just thinking, like, no one needs to know why Coke is what Coke is. It's like the market dominant preference, familiarity, like that's what's going on. And you're right to say that. Like, you don't need to educate people once your brand is singing. I think there's something there.
No, but that was a point of Byron Sharp in his book How Brands Grow, which should be named How Big Brands Stay Big. But that's another subject.
I know. When I read that, I was like, oh wow, this is the key. And then you start breaking it out. You're like, oh, this is one way to think about the key. But it's a good way. And I love Aaron Berg-Bass. But that gets us into this, what good looks like, what performance looks like. I mean, you mentioned risk aversion. Like, that's a big thing. If you can get people saying the risk has gone down, hello. But what do you think is this struggle in between brand side, agency side teams? Why are they arguing about what good performance looks like, good marketing performance looks like? Because you just said, if there's a one-to-one connection with a CEO who says this is the right sales CRM or whatever it is, or, then that's happening. But good performance, good marketing performance, why do you think we're arguing about that?
because it's extremely difficult to measure. And in a lot of cases, it's quite difficult to prove. For example, I specialize in higher ticket, longer consideration journey. Let's take the example of a car. You don't need a car today, but you probably know the 2 or 3 cars you would consider. So regardless, the performance market index is going to happen. You already made your choice. The battle is already won before you even started your consideration journey. So that's one thing. And so when you hire an agency, it's the problem they have is that they very often they're going to sign a contract, and then within the 3 months they have to show like some impact. And the problem is that the people who are going to buy within the next 3 months, a lot of them have already made their minds. And the people they will be able to change their mind will not buy the next 3 months. They'll buy in the next 6, 9 months. And so we end up in this trap of that we need to prove the value of this agency. And then we're going back to that concept of attribution and performance marketing again. And then we're going to say, hey, that person who bought that car went through Google search and filled an appointment and went to the local shop and bought the car. Well, the reality is that car was recommended by the neighbor, or they always bought that brand, etc.
Yeah, my great grandfather, something real weird.
No, but it is true, and that's something that I've seen. Well, the car example, for example, we all know the cars we would buy, even if we're not ready to buy. And the same applies to B2B. I've seen it at Oracle. Like the stories given by the buyers, the sales never match multi-touch attribution ever. So yeah, well, ever.
Sometimes you could stretch it.
But I very comfortably I can say that in 3/4 of the time the story mismatch, and then you end up in a situation where, well, the sales teams are the one bringing the money to the company.
Right.
So when you have the sales team looking at those attribution, and then you have marketing starting to claim credit on some of those deals, the sales team are going to raise it as like, that doesn't make any sense.
And vice versa. Sales taking credit for marketing stuff.
Yeah. No, they do too. But the problem is that the sales team are bringing the money, and so when the sales team are going to say to the CFO that what marketing is claiming doesn't make any sense, then you get into a whole lot of trouble, and then marketing will lose credit. I've seen it, and I've heard about it. You have marketing teams like showing off touch point on a certain deal, and then the sales team says that's really not the reason why the prospect bought. No, it is true. I agree with you. Sometimes the sales team are a bit cheeky.
No, cheeky. But no, I think you're right, because one of the problems is marketers tend to feel like my job is to influence. It's not necessarily to sell and close. And I could get that. But unless you have visibility to the end and understanding and dialogue with the sales team, these mismatches are going to happen. And that's this next question, is like getting teams aligned. Like, you're working in retail or automotive, you have a ton of moving parts, tons of different teams. Is part of that definition or misdefinition of good marketing performance, does it come from misaligned teams? And how do you suggest people get on board? Because everyone says, well, the silos are the problem. And you're like, yeah, everyone knows that. But no, is the answer getting in a bigger silo? Or how do you align teams? And how does that play into mismeasurement?
So it's very difficult in big companies, because the bigger the companies are, the most siloed I would see.
Yes.
When you're in a smaller company, you have a marketing team, and you have 10 people doing everything. Oh, well,
that's
10
a lot.
people.
That's
marketing team is already a decent
that's
company.
A ton of people.
Yeah. When you're an enterprise, you have one team doing SEO, one team doing social media, one team doing paid search, and they're all going to have their own metrics. Mm-hmm. The problem is that the marketing teams are going to do upper funnel, and they're going to see their budget reduce year after year because we can't measure what they do. And then you have, but the SEO and the paid search team are going to get the credit of the social media work, because the people who are exposed to the brand through social media are then going to buy through SEO and paid search. And so the big problem is that we are siloing those all of those channels while they come very closely intertwined and interconnected. And so the first thing we have to do is to prove the impact of one channel over the other. Like we have to. I've done that a few times. Is we go to the. I go talk to the organic team, and I say, we're going to show the impact that you have on direct traffic, on paid search, etc., because it is there. It's very often there. Interestingly, recently I had a discussion with an organic social media team, and they were uncomfortable with the idea of looking into performance metrics. And I think the reason is because, again, we go back to the attribution thing. And there's probably somebody in the past who tell them, well, you don't bring any revenue because we can't track it. And so it's the idea of like going back to the discussion is that like tracking is not the answer. Tracking is often the opposite of an answer. Because as I said earlier, it only track the bottom of the funnel and makes you spend in the wrong initiatives. So it's going back. So there's a lot of work to do in making people understand that we shouldn't track we can track the bottom of the funnel, but we shouldn't evaluate the upper funnel with tracking. It's like Einstein when he says like you can't what did he say? You can't grade a fish at his ability to climb a tree, for example. It's that kind of thing. But then it is true that sometimes what happens is that you start to push on some painful places where some teams do not want to push. Because when you come and say, well, paid search are claimed 10 million of revenue a year. In fact, the real impact of paid search is half of that. You start to have some difficulties, but the thing is, it's a painful conversation. But you don't have any other choice than having it if you want the company to grow.
Can you tell me if you've had this conversation with people and it has been painful? How did they get over it?
Some never do. And it goes back to the we need to educate people. The thing is, the reality is, if they're not pain aware, they're not going to change. Like you need to have the planets aligned. You need to have the people feeling the pain of looking at those reports that looks amazing and have the customer acquisition costs like skyrocketing, margin decreasing, and so on. And people are like, okay, something doesn't work.
But I want to take a quick philosophical side tangent and pull the car over. Why aren't people pain aware? I mean, I definitely averse to pain. I don't want to feel it. Is this like a psychological problem that I don't know education can fix? What are your thoughts there? I mean, people don't want to be pain aware, and anyone who is pain aware is a catastrophist. You're bringing that negative energy, man. Like stop. So not you, but me.
I do,
and everyone.
I know, I do. I know.
No, but I'm saying it is some tough pills to swallow. What's going on? No one even wants to be pain aware. That's a very interesting concept. Pain aware. Why are people off of that? Safety.
Yeah. Well, if they have a multi-touch attribution that tells them they're doing a great job, why would you be open-minded to the idea that it's not doing a great job?
But how do you get? So some people never shed that bad thinking, but they do. I mean, and it comes down to how you measure the quality. Media measurement, essentially, is what you're saying is we need to find these things and figure out what's good. But Are brands tracking what matters in media measurement? Or, I mean, it's obvious they're just tracking what's easy because it's down at the bottom of the funnel. But again, I think maybe the idea is media measurement, quality. Maybe we don't even care about that, and if the multi-touch thing is looking good, then why even look into this? What do you think about media measurement and quality? Like, does that play a part in this? And maybe that's why people don't want to look into it, because if they did, they would realize the media that they're measuring is low quality.
So I just want to point on something I pointed earlier, because I don't want to point finger of people.
Don't do it.
Or to just
Don't
want to
do
close
it.
their eyes. I want to say that also a lot of leadership impose on metrics to their marketing.
Right.
And their marketing teams are in a situation where they have to play the game that has been given to them. If their objective, what they evaluate on the year-on-year performance review is touch point of a multi-touch attribution tool, why should they do the opposite? Why should they put themselves in risk with the leadership, in risk of being underperforming, etc., if that's what they've been given asked to do? So
Excellent point.
So there's also a lot of that. And so as long as leadership doesn't accept that there is an issue in the way to evaluate the marketing teams, it will be very difficult and even to justify for the marketers to do the opposite.
So what things can you point to where you're seeing, is there a ground shift? Is there a swelling moment? Do you think people are becoming more aware of this? Because I've heard what you're saying. You can't measure the bottom like the top. There's all these things, long-term, short-term, how big brands grow and stay big. Aaron Berg-Bass, all of these things. What's going on? Do you think that it's shifting, or what is this current moment telling you in AI and where we're headed? Do you feel that there's more people who are like, hey, we need to make sense of this? Or is there more people who are like, we need to just automate more and think less?
Don't get me started on the AI.
Well, yeah.
So I think the pain is more palpable because there's less VC money. People are spending less. We had those very good period just after COVID. Well, people we could finally go out of their house. They were spending. There was more VC money, and now you start to see that there is less money available. And you see that Google, LinkedIn, all of these bottom of the funnel channels have drastically increased their cost year on year. And so there is, the pain is more there than it used to. And companies are looking for ways to also be more efficient. Before we were talking about the growth of all costs, right? And some SaaS still have that. I saw like some like very big SaaS have like a 50 months payback, which is on their customer and the client are not going to stay 50 months. So it's completely ridiculous. And there's still a lot of work to do.
Wait, did you say 50?
I think 50.
50.
Yeah. And I forgot the name of the companies, but they're quite big companies that we all know. There's a great guy on LinkedIn who share all of those metrics. Yeah, 50.
Wow.
And so the pain.
Some of us
is
will
more
be
there,
dead. Some of us will be dead by the time those invoices get paid. That's a scary thought. Oh my God. Anyway, keep going.
So the what I wanted to say is that yes, the pain is more there. A lot of people feel the pain but don't know how to solve it. And that's actually for me my ideal customer profile is the people that are like, okay, that CAC is going up, that margin is going down, it's not going up. Like there is a problem somewhere. So, Charlie, can you help us?
So this is our next question. Beautiful lead in. So if a CMO came to you and they were saying, hey, our campaigns look good on paper, but the sales aren't growing, what would you look at first?
First, I would look at the allocation of their marketing and sales budget. Have you, I don't know if you say that in English, but in French, we say, show me your card and I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah, there's something similar. Yeah.
And the reality is, just by looking at a budget allocation, the sales and marketing budget allocation for B2B or just a marketing, I can already know and guess very well, educated guess, understanding what are the performance metrics they look at, what they evaluated on, etc. A B2B doing multi-touch attribution, it's really easy. It's Google search, LinkedIn, 80% most of the case. When you look at this ratio, you know they're using a multi-touch attribution.
So that's the first thing you do. I love that. And because where you put your money is where you put your energy, and where you put your attention is where you put your energy, is where you put your money. I love that. So if people are coming on, they have a bit of a big marketing and sales is a little bit, would you intimate that they had a better understanding, or they were just more prepared to have a marketing conversation? Because, I mean, that it doesn't really, everybody is probably going to have bigger sales than marketing, right? Or are there people that have... What's it like where the marketing budget's bigger than the sell budget? Is that a thing? No.
Well, in B2C, yes.
Yes.
In B2C, that happens.
Right.
In B2B, it's mainly more sales and marketing. Right. But then, like, usually when you have the grow, like stalling, you have the increased customer acquisition costs, you can very quickly understand what's going on just with a few chats from the sales team. Like I had a chat room. I remember that sentence, and it comes back to what you mentioned about awareness and brand affinity. Yeah. It's a sales team for SaaS, and it was based in Spain. And the company was doing a lot of awareness campaign, sponsoring a lot of events. And he said something that really resonated to me that I never forget. He said, "Everybody knows us, but nobody knows what we solve." And I was really brilliantly put to make the difference between awareness and brand, because what you want is just not to be known. You want to be known for the solution you bring. And going to this, for example, often when you have a small brand and that brand really has issue to grow and they spend a lot of money on Google search and doesn't work, you're going to see that they're spending a lot on Google search, and then you have all of those leads going to the sales team, and then the sales team can't close them. And very often you're going to hear from the sales team is that they don't know us. And again, we go back to the perception. Somebody is not going to buy something from you if that person don't know you. Like it's like a cold call. Like, I mean, I know some people make life of it, but I hate cold calls personally. Like, I don't want.
Well, and recent research is like there are like 6 billion sales messages going out like every year. And so and those opportunities aren't going up because the marketing isn't rising in tandem. So it's a very interesting chicken flavored omelet that we're eating. But I love that you're watching both sides of it, and you know that it only works when everybody's singing together. We have to wrap this up, but I have a couple quick ones. If somebody's looking at their dashboard and they have those measurements that they were maybe imposed on or given, or they've worked it, is there one thing that an enterprise brand should stop measuring in their weekly dashboard? And do you have an idea on what should replace that, or just give us an idea of how to clean up that dashboard real quick?
Platform ROI. That is the stupid things you can
Wait, you said
do.
platform ROI? Okay.
Yes, platform ROI. For several reasons. The first one is because all of your campaigns are not at the same level in the customer journey. And the lower the lower in the funnel your campaigns are, the higher ROI will be. Like it's so you're going to have Google paid brand search, for example, is going to have an extremely good ROI, but it doesn't mean that it's driving anything. Retargeting will have a very good ROI too, but it doesn't mean that it had impacted anything. But if you look at your brand building awareness, your ROI is going to look very bad. But those are the ones that are actually driving people to the bottom of the funnel. So platform ROI that's the first reason why it's bad. It's because you can't compare initiatives which are not at the same level in your funnel.
Makes sense.
The second reason why it's bad is because it doesn't give you any information about the marginal ROI. So the marginal ROI is where it's that diminishing return curve. You know, it's that scatter plot between revenue and spend, and you have a diminishing return curve. And often what you see in Google search, for example, it's like even if you have campaigns that look great or retargeting that look great, you could be in complete diminishing return. And even if you spend more there, the total ROI will still look good, but you're just wasting money. And you need to move that money elsewhere. And usually you have to move it up in the funnel. That's one way I do a softer way to push people to go away from the focus on the bottom of the funnel to the top of the funnel is exactly that. It's to show them their marginal ROI and say, at this point, you're wasting all the money after that, move it higher. And that's a good way to introduce a more complete funnel perspective on things.
Bang, bang, bang. Charlie's just giving this away for free. Okay? He's just giving these away. He's tinkering away in these beautiful gems, and he's singing his song. He's whistling while he's working, and he's flicking it out to you. Can you catch it? Can you dig it? So here, one final question. How can marketers earn more credibility with finance department in 2025? Oh boy. Tell us.
I think if they have a sales team, so B2B, definitely you have to have a strong relationship with sales. They really have
Friendly
to.
with sales.
Because that's the open door to have a strong relationship with finance. That's how it works. If it's a B2C, it's really building that relationship with finance. And what finance want is finance language. ROI, marginal ROI, contribution, all of those are concepts that they're fully aware of. And so you should move away from the concept of touchpoint and really talking about in the finance way. Like, for example, brand affinity. A CFO will have a bit of issue to understand what brand affinity is. But if you say like, we are creating the buyers of tomorrow, that is something that is more understandable for a CFO. So it's always really like trying to adapt to the finance vocabulary, because in the end they're the one handling the budget.
Exactly,
so
and they're the
one to convince.
That's such a good thing. But again, making sure that you're not talking again. Platform ROI might not be the thing to express to the finance team. So even in your landing on a certain metric, you have to make sure that you know how to position that in a way that makes sense and that doesn't live in your marketing world. I think that's my personal thing is like, you have a bunch of marketing stuff, but these business folks ain't listening because you're not speaking business to them. You're thinking philosophy and it's like, oh God, no one hears you. So please speak financial language. And if you have a question, Charlie would be down to have you ask him that, and he's just available like this. He is a normal human just like you and me. He's on LinkedIn. Charlie, you're amazing. How can people connect with you online?
Oh, well, they can connect with me on LinkedIn, of course. And then also I have a YouTube channel with a whopping 71 subscribers right now. So I know, right? So you can also follow me there where I leave a lot of tips. But yeah, if you want to contact me, LinkedIn is the best one.
Cheese or chocolate?
Are you ready?
One question, two options. I have to choose one. Okay.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Cheese or chocolate?
Oh, that's a tough one. It is a tough one. Chocolate.
It's not too tough.
Yeah, it is a tough one.
It's not too tough. It's not too tough.
It is I come from Belgium. We have a lot of cheese, mature cheese, etc.
Oh, man.
And I'm in England right now, and I miss my cheese a bit. I have to.
I know.
The conversation's getting a bit personal.
I know. I'm sorry I brought
miss
up
my
cheese. Hopefully he won't cry on the call. We don't know. He's writing a letter to his favorite Belgian cheese. Anyway, Charlie, He's from.
And because of Brexit, we can't import it anymore.
Oh, now it's political. Okay, I pull over the car. I don't know if you're going to get this. Everything bagel or no bagel at all.
I don't get it.
You don't.
What
So,
is it?
and
Is
that's
that-
why I
is
was
that-
like, man, this is an American thing. Everything bagel has like garlic and caraway seeds and onion and like it has everything on it.
Mhm.
So, are you even into bagels? Do you even believe in bagels? What's your life like, Charlie?
I live in England right now.
Ain't no bagels, and
but
are
I
there
don't-
no bagels in England?
There are not really bagels
What?
in England.
Okay, well,
No,
we're going to
I,
talk to Brexit. I'm going to write Brexit a note. I don't know if Brexit has an email. They're about to get blown up because we need bagels, and we need to get this man some cheese. Okay, moving on. I think this is going to be better. Talking facts or talking figures? Facts. Oh, that's a big one from the figure man. Optimize or minimize?
Optimize.
Yeah. Superman or Batman?
Ooh, good one. Superman.
Oh, do you want to explain it? Or you just want to just fly off?
No, it's just I think as a superhero, I prefer Superman, but I prefer the story of Batman.
Right. Yeah.
How he became Batman.
Right.
I think I prefer that how Superman became Superman. It's a personal taste. I don't want to offend any.
You already have. It's okay.
Anybody on
It's
the-
okay. You already have. Okay. Sorry. Here's the last one. And again, I'm like, man, what are you talking about? Tostadas? Do you know what a tostada is? It's just a crispy tortilla.
No. Crispy tortilla.
Okay, hold on. All right. Then I will just say open-faced sandwiches, are they a cruel joke or is it culinary genius?
Open face sandwiches.
So you usually have a sandwich and now they've done
Yeah.
something open-faced. Is this genius or is this just dumb?
Oh, and to bring it to you, but open.
That's essentially, a tostada is basically a crispy tortilla shell with a whole bunch of stuff on it. So it's like a taco that's been flattened. So it's like a sandwich,
Yeah.
open-faced. So I'm wondering if you think, you give me an open-faced sandwich where there used to be bread on top. Is this exciting? Does this excite you? Are you thinking this is the next level of sandwiches?
Do you know that I live 30 minutes away from the village of Sandwich, which where sandwich is coming from?
No. Have you been?
Yes, and so I will have to follow what I believe the Duke of Sandwich would think right thing to do. It's no to open sandwich. A sandwich should be closed. That's how we invented it, and we don't change.
That's the way our ancestors enjoyed sandwiches. Our sandwich chesters.
Yeah.
But anyway,
It was actually made with remains of beef roast.
Oh.
and then he loved to play cards, and then he was asking people to make him a sandwich, which was 2 pieces of bread with the roast beef. That's how it started.
you imagine?
And honestly, a good roast beef in between 2 nice slices of bread is very difficult to
You
beat.
can't beat it. That's the historical sandwich. That's the sandwich.
That's
That's
the sandwich.